Hi guys, welcome back to Delaware Studios. We'll be talking about Firebase Cloud Storage, which provides a secure and reliable way for client apps to store and retrieve files located on the Google Cloud Storage servers using just a few lines of code. We're going to make use of the Android video capture intent to allow the user to record a video using the device camera. Once recorded, the user will be given the option to upload the video file to the Firebase Cloud, and once uploaded, subsequently you can download and play the video. Firebase Authentication will be used to keep the videos belonging to different users separate from one another. Storage security rules will also be applied so that only the owner of the video is able to download and view it. Without much ado, we'll be headed straight to Android Studio, and we'll first of all need to include the Firebase storage dependency into our Android project. You do that by clicking on the tools, same, click on Firebase, and you have the Firebase assistant drawer open for you to select the particular dependency you are looking at. We have that over here. So we've actually talked about the authentication, the real-time database. Now we'll talk about the storage. You click on upload and download a file with the Firebase storage. Once you have that, we are actually connected to the Firebase console, and you click on the add Firebase storage to your app. That will actually show you the dependency you need to include Firebase storage. So you have that and you accept changes. So you have that set up, and we'll get started with the source code. If you notice, we have the dependencies set up correctly, which you can see right there. So let's look at the dependency we have included, which you have the com.google, which is the Firebase storage 10.0.1. You have that set up here. We also need the Firebase URL auth, which we have set up earlier, and you can include the database if you want to use some database storage as well. So from here, you sync your Gradle anyway, and we'll be headed straight to the layout files. We have the cloud storage XML and the activity sign-in. The cloud storage XML is actually going to be used by the Firebase UI auth to actually make the sign-in process out of the box from Firebase. So we just have that set up, just a mere constraint layout by default, pointing at the cloud storage activity, which is the launcher activity, and the text view, just hello world by default. Cool. Let's look at the sign-in, the activity sign-in. This is the major focus, where we have the record, the upload, the download, and the video view integrated. We have the constraint layout to actually make our layout set up appropriately, and we have some buttons involved. The first button, which is the record button that triggers the on-click record method. We have that, and some constraints around it, to bottom of parent, to left of parent, and to the left of the button 3 ID, which is actually the upload ID. We have the button upload that triggers the upload method and click, and there are also some constraints around it to the bottom of parent and to the right of the button 2, which is the record button, and to the left of the button 4. Now the button 4 ID is going to be the download button that triggers the download method. So we should take cognizance of those methods. We'll be talking about them in the Java classes. We have a progress bar that actually are going to depict the rate of the upload. So it's actually going to be in percentage. The maximum is 100. We have that set up right there, and some constraints are set around it to actually make it switch right. And the last layout we'll be talking about here is the video view, which we have in it a big chunk. You're seeing right there. It actually has a constraint around it as well, to the left of the parent, to the right of the parent, to the top of the parent. It's actually sitting at the top, and we have that set up. So with this, we have our layout, and we should understand what we're expecting: the record, the upload, and the download. Head straight to the Java classes, 2 of them: the cloud storage activity, the launcher, and the sign-in activity. The cloud storage activity is going to be used by the Firebase auth, and you extend the app compact, declare the Firebase auth object and the request code integer 101. In the onCreate, we set the content view to the Activity Cloud Storage and instantiate the auth by calling the get instance to the Firebase auth. And you need to test if the user has actually signed in at first. So by getting the current user to not be equals to null. Once it's not equals to null, definitely the user signed in. The intent will be triggered to push the user to the sign-in activity instead of going through the sign-in process again. And you add the finish method, and this is actually going to finish up so that the user won't have the ability to go back to sign in. So you have the authenticate user if the user, the get current user callback is null. So definitely the user has not signed in, and this method will be triggered. The authenticate user, in this user we call the provider, which is actually coming from the auth UI. The IDP config is a list array where we instantiate with the array list, and we lock in the provider we are using. We are using the email and password provider for this demo. You can integrate the Facebook, Twitter, GitHub, and so on if you wish through this process as well. And you start the activity or result, which will get on activity results override. So we need to actually, because we're expecting a result. So we build up the instance, we get the instance. You create the sign-in intent builder to build up the that. You set available providers to pass in the providers as a parameter. That's the provider you're using. And set is smart lock enable to false. This actually is when you don't want the user to remember password. So the password will be auto completed. That's once you set to true. So you build up, and you also add the request code. There's an identifier to it, which is 101. Now on activity for results, whereby we're getting the request code, the result code, and the intent data. You call the superclass to that parameters, and as well you create a response. That's an object from the IDP response, which actually is from the result intent, whereby you passing the data into that. Now if there is request code equals to the request codes we are looking at, which is 101, we have an inner if, which is testing now for the result code. If the result code is okay, that's a success sign-in. You push down to the sign-in activity. Else, probably the user cancelled. You can undo that in this particular if statement, as if the response equals to null, or if the response you get is showing an error code of no network. Probably you can put a toast that you are probably in airplane mode, or you don't have an internet connectivity at present. And if it's unknown as well, you can as well gracefully give a message by toast or snack bar. That's okay. Let's look at the sign-in activity. In the sign-in activity, this is where the whole logic lies, where you get to upload, download, and record. Extends app compact as usual. You declare these fields, the video URI. You always use URI when it comes to video files, images in the device. Use URL, that's the resource locator for web, but for mobile, use URI. We have the request code 101 and the storage reference, very important, whereby we create an object from called the video ref. And in the onCreate method, we set the content view to activity sign-in. We've talked about that. A string UID, there's a variable. A UID is basically an identifier, a unique identifier to a particular user. We need that because we don't want users to get different videos. The video a particular user uploads to the Firebase storage should be the same video you can download. You shouldn't be downloading other users' video. That's the essence of the UID. We want to attach an identifier to the path of the Firebase storage. So we have to do that in the storage ref, where we get the instance of the storage and the reference. Now we use the object of the storage ref to place the path that we are pointing at. Now these are the child nodes. We have the videos. That's the part we are trying to build up. That's the URI. The UID, which is unique to that particular user, and a demo name. which is the user intro with snipe type 3.gp. That's 3gp rather. You can use MP4 if you like. The upload method will be triggered once the user click on the upload button. And what is going to happen in this code? You test if the video URI is not equals to null. If it's not equals to null, you have to create an upload tags. You use the video ref we've created, which is for the reference, and you put the file, which is the video URI you're getting. You put it into the video ref, and we have some callbacks you will be expecting, whereby you had on failure listener, which must override the on failure method, and it's going to actually use a toast to tell the user that the upload you're doing has failed and what might have caused it. We need to add on success, that's on success listener, whereby you need to override, you implement the on success listener that actually takes a task snapshot. The snapshot is basically used to take a copy of what you're doing. We use that in the database. When you take a snapshot of the copy, that's a copy of the text, a copy of a message. Now we are taking a task snapshot of the video, which will override the onSuccess method. We're passing the task snapshot as a parameter, and there's a toast as the upload completes. We need to also take into cognizance the progress that we want to attach to this. So we add the on progress listener to this, whereby we instantiate the on progress listener and also take in the task snapshots. That's the copy of the video. And we need to override the on progress based on the snapshot. In this process, you trigger the update progress method and pass the task snapshot as the parameter. Let's look at the update progress method. The same task snapshot is still the copy, we are still flowing around. The file size is a long data type. This time the task snapshot gets the total byte count and pass that to the file size long variable. We have the upload bytes long variable as well. This time the task snapshot takes the bytes transferred at point, it's not the total now, what has been transferred, and pass this to the upload bytes long variable. Now how are we going to test the progress? Since we have a length of 100, probably 100%, we need to do some arithmetic here. We are going to multiply 100 by the upload bytes, which is the bytes transferred, and you divide by the file size. So that's going to actually get the point of progress for you in percentage. So that will be passed to the long progress, and we need to initialize the progress bar, call this ID the P bar, which you have that in the layout, and you start the progress. We need to cast an int to the progress, since we are getting back a long data type and we need an integer to pass to the progress bar. So you cast an integer down there. So you have that set up, so it's actually going to tell us the progress of transfer. We've forgotten, we still need to talk about the record. We still need where are we getting the data from. This time we call on the intent to trigger the media store. This is out of the box from the Android API, and this time we are calling the action video capture. We can also use the audio file, but this time for the video. It starts activity for results. We're still going to override on activity result for this, since we've started an activity for results, and we're passing the intent and the request code. So let's quickly look at that before we get to talk about the download. The on activity for results, you have three parameters: request code, result code, and the data. And this time we get the data and pass that to the video URI, and the request code should be the same thing with the request code we have right there. And this time the result code, if it's okay, definitely the video is being saved successfully. If it's not, probably the result code is cancelled. You toast that you've cancelled the video, or something has happened in the process. You said probably you failed to record the video. So those are the errors that can come back. So afterwards, we talk about the download. Once we've uploaded successfully, you should be able to download. And we wrap this out around the try and catch block, whereby we're expecting an exception, and we'll be able to undo that as well. In the try block, we declare a file, the local file, which is the creating the path to the temporary file we are going to call, or we are going to download to. We are actually downloading from the Firebase storage down to the device temporary file. We pass in the path, the user intro, and 3GP, that's the MIME type that we're using. You get the file, which is the local file we've actually created here, and you add unsuccess listener to that, which we're also going to instantiate the unsuccess listener. Same thing, this is tag snapshot, but this time is the file download tags we are talking about, not the upload tags we are using when we are uploading. And you see the difference? So the download tags, we're going to override the unsuccess method, which actually takes the tag snapshots as well, and there'll be a toast that the downloads completed. And also it's not going to stop there. It's going to actually call the video view, whereby you call the ID of the video view. We have that in the activity signed in XML. You set the video URI from the file, which is the local file, to the video view, and you start the video view for display. In any success, there should be a failure. There can be a failure rather. And on failure listener must be attached, whereby you instantiate the on failure listener, and you have the on failure method. So if there is a failure while downloading, there should be a toast to the user as well, and what might have caused the failure. So we need to catch an exception, probably in the process of creating the temporary file, or in the device there is an error somewhere. So that means it won't even download because it hasn't even created any file. So we need to catch that exception here, so that we won't have a crashed application, so that we'll be able to still go through all this process and probably have an error message that probably the download failed, or you can't just create the file, the temporary file was not created. So that's the essence of this, so that the application won't just crash because it's unable to create a temporary file. With all this process set up, you should be able to have that flowing. You should be able to upload, take a video selfie and upload to the Firebase storage, and have that downloaded back for display. So I'll actually be showing a screencast of this, and I will implore you to also lay your hands on the source code, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Have a wonderful time.